What is going on, people? Welcome to the match preview as we look ahead to the game against Arsenal on Monday night. Yes, Palace are playing. It does feel like we're still in pre-season mode with all the news that's been going on, but we are approaching our second game of the season, the first match preview of the season. I'm joined by T here to discuss that win over Sheffield United, some of the positive that we can take into it, and also our general mood going into this game and more. As always, if you do enjoy the content, make sure to smash the like button and also subscribe to not miss out future Palace content, and let us know what you guys think ahead of the game in the comment section down below. T, I'll be honest, it feels like a Palace defeat in the first game of the season, the way that the last few days have been going on with Elite, and now we're hearing about Eduoard. But of course, we talk about them on live Palace News. So if you guys want to check out the latest Palace rumors and reports, check out live Palace News. But in terms of your general mood going into this game, T, has it impacted it? Because I'll be honest, the Sheffield United game, the performance, the result, it was all good. But at the same time, it feels like someone has literally died at the club. It feels just terrible, the mood right now, with everyone leaving left, right, centre. And it feels like we got a defeat against Sheffield United. But for you, against Arsenal, do you have a bit of optimism based on what happened in the first game of the season?
I do. I think, and D, I think the reason why you feel like that is because we got a win over the weekend, but we taking L's all week after it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, every single hour, not even day, every single hour, it gets worse.
Yeah, it feels like there's all kind of it's not enough good news coming through, and a lot of potential bad news. I mean, am I confident going into Monday night for the contest? Yes. And the reason why I say that is because, like you said, we did put in a good performance against Sheffield over the weekend. Of course, it wasn't the scoreline that you would want, but at the end, it's 3 points that matters the most. The reason why you have that confidence, I think, or I have the confidence going into Monday, is just because of the fact that it's early doors in the season, and teams like Arsenal, even though they've made some pretty tremendous moves, they're still trying to bond, trying to gel, work things out. So playing them early, maybe we have a better chance of giving them a good contest and coming away with a result. So you never know. I mean, it's important to be optimistic early on for sure.
I mean, we are fifth in the league table, so it doesn't feel like it, but we are.
Hey man,
we are right now.
Baby.
Technically, that is Champions League qualification. If the season was to end today because of all the new rules and stuff, I think fifth gets you Champions League spot. As a Palace fan, talking about Champions League is hilarious because we're losing players left, right, centre. But look, all jokes aside, it was a good result. And for me, T, it's one game at a time. That's my mentality right now. Against Arsenal, I'll be honest, even if he had 0 shots on target and just managed to get a point, I'll be happy with that. Just take it game at a time. Yeah. But in terms of the feeling going into this game, you talked about it as a fan. And for me, I am looking forward to it because of what I saw against Sheffield United. And Elise wasn't there. Doucouré was there, but I don't expect Doucouré to leave if it was to leave, which is a big if. By that time, so I think he'll be available. So I don't think any major changes is going to happen. It's all stuff that's happening behind the scenes.
Right.
What do you think with the Elise, with the Doucouré? Do you think this could impact the squad in a way as well, especially with the likes of maybe Eze, another talented player that's seeing, Zaha first leave, now potentially Elise? Do you think it could play games to the head as we're approaching this game?
I mean, it very well could, and I think the thing that we just want in there, we hope that it doesn't. You know what I mean? And it's because, I guess it's just part of being a professional. When you would hope that you guys in your squad are going to be professional to the utmost, and come to work and do their job. You know what I mean? That's the biggest part. I know it's going to be tough.
Roy for that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you got Roy to keep their heads on straight. So I would hope that, guys can just, keep focused and do what they need to do. I mean, tough for Ed because, Elise was his boy too,
He gave me a lot of assists. He gave me a lot of assists last season. So there is that as well. So that'll be interesting to see whether, Eze can carry that burden. But I'll be honest, moving onto the game and talking about individuals, that game, Eze was brilliant. I know he didn't get an assist, but it seemed like he was our main creative outlet. And there was, new signings as well in terms of Lerma, which I think was absolutely fantastic. So in this game, T, when you're looking at Arsenal's squad versus us, of course they got a better squad than us, but I think we've got the missing puzzle that we didn't have when we faced them last time around. And you mentioned, facing Arsenal early doors may help, but we had them start of last season and they absolutely thrashed us at a gate season opener when we faced them at home at Selhurst Park. But now, now we know what to expect from Arteta's side. Hopefully that should help us out. But when you look at their midfield three versus our midfield three, Lerma, let's give you some stats. Most duels won in the Premier League this weekend. It was him, 18.
Yep.
Most aerial duels won. It was him once again, 12.
12. Yeah.
What a professional debut from him. Like, he was what I expected and even more. He was attacking, defending. He was him. He was the main guy in that midfield whilst we still had Doucouré. And going into this game, we're going to need him because you're facing Odegaard, Declan Rice, Havertz. But I think the three of, Eze, Doucouré, and Lerma could actually be an interesting offering because we saw it with Declan Rice when he was at West Ham. Doucouré had a decent game against him. So I'm not saying we're going to be match for match, but I feel like we've got a stronger midfield now to compete against their midfield, which is one of the most important areas of the pitch.
Absolutely. It's not a wash by any means. It's not, you're not going in saying, man, we're going to struggle against them in midfield. That might not be the case. I mean, do they have a good midfield? Absolutely. Do we have a good midfield? Absolutely. And I think it could just comes down to a lot of, it could come down to the X's and O's. It could come down to tactical stuff that each team deploys. I mean, the thing about the three that we have in midfield that makes you so confident is you got guys who have proven it in the Premier League year over year. You got guys that are athletic, which goes a long way in this game. So, I mean, I feel good with what we have going up against them in the midfield, especially compared to years past.
Yeah, look, Lerma, he was absolutely fantastic. Like, I love him.
Absolutely.
I love him already. I love him already. And that's why it's important to keep Doucouré because I feel like both of them will be a very underrated duo in midfield, especially as holding midfielders because they complement each other's games perfectly. I'll be honest, I was very surprised about Lerma's aerial duels. Like, the fact that he won 12, but even by watching him, by the eye test, like, he was absolutely fantastic. He won headers. And he used them headers as flicks, and he ran onto the goal. Remember in the second half,
that one in the second half was nasty.
What was the most surprised about Lerma's game? We know he's got talent, but he really said, "I am, going to take control." He was shouting at Mitchell as well, saying, "Do better." He seemed like he was being at the club for ages. But
I think that was the part that surprised me the most: the vocal leadership. I didn't expect him to be so vocal with the other players on the pitch, with whether he was championing them on or chiding them for not doing their job. I remember, like I said, we talked about it during the post match, but when there was one particular play where he had the ball at his feet and he was looking to his left to hopefully play something over to Tyrick, but he was playing back and Lerma made a pass not to him, but looked at him and was like, "Hey man, get up the field, be advanced." And it's like,
exactly, go there, exactly. Like, finding someone taking accountable, someone taking the action, saying, "Get up there, stop staying there."
And because Doucouré doesn't strike me as that guy, and I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that he's not capable of it. I think it might just be more of a language barrier thing for him because I know he's
vocal.
He's still getting used to the language. He's still getting used to playing in the English game and being able to communicate with his teammates like that. As compared to Lerma, he's been in the Premier League for the last 5 years. So he's very much used to this. So I think the vocal leadership was what really got me, because in looking back into him at Bournemouth, because I had to really do more research on him because I really hadn't watched him a lot other than when he played us. He is really good in the air. I mean, he scored 5 goals last season, and I think 3 of the 5 were headers on corners. So
wow, I didn't even know that myself.
Yeah, so he's good in the air. He's good with his head. So I think the fact that I see where, I think you tweeted about this too. I see why the Bournemouth fans were so hurt to lose him because
Yeah.
he's very complete. He's very complete.
They messaged me. The Bournemouth fan channels messaged me after the first game. They probably watched Match of the Day and they saw
Right.
it on BBC over here. They highlighted Lerma because of how good he was, and they messaged me, and I was saying, yeah, he's fantastic. They're like, see, we told you.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He's that guy. He's
The
that
only
guy.
thing, the only thing I disagree with was when you spoke to the guy from Bournemouth and he said that he would own that his best position is at central defensive midfielder. I feel like he can do the 8 role. Like,
can he? The goal part is going to be interesting watching him. The goal part, because when it comes to the amount of goals he scored, he hasn't been up there. And he hasn't been noticeable about his goals. And he had like a few shots that I can remember. There was one shot that just went out wide.
yeah.
So I think that area of the game we'll probably have to watch him and see what happens.
If he can give us 5 goals again like he did last year, that's huge from the midfield. If you're not the attacking midfielder that Eze is, for instance, like 5 goals would be huge. I can't remember the last time we had 2 midfielders with more than 5 goals.
I mean, yeah, talking about goals with Palace right now, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard to figure
exactly.
out.
So we know what that means for us, especially with what we've lost with Wilf and his goal contribution, and now with Elise and his goal contribution. So it makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Eduoard in just a second, people. But let us know what you guys made of Lerma's debut in the comment section down below. And are you excited to see what he can offer? And did he surprise you against Sheffield United? And if he did so, how? But look, before we talk about Eduoard, I just want to talk about the overall control that we had against Sheffield United. We kept the clean sheet. And we were the better side. And I'll be honest, I said it in the live match reaction, the only main negative from that Sheffield United game was the fact that we didn't score more goals. We created a chance and we should have scored more goals. But against Arsenal, it's a different test. It's a different level. You can't compare Sheffield United to Arsenal, whether you're playing them at home or away from home. They were title contenders last year. They've improved their squad from last season as well. So in terms of our approach to the game, how do you think Roy should and will approach the game?
Well, in the past, Roy has always been rather pragmatic when it comes to how he plays against bottom 10 or lower 10 compared to top 10, top 16.
Yeah.
And I think what we might see from Roy, if he tends to stick to that model, is we're probably going to be looking to play on the counter. Against Arsenal, we'll probably give up majority of the possession, but we're going to keep a nice double low block, stay tight, stay resolute defensively, and hit him on the counter. If he does that with the way we set up compared to Sheffield, it might be more of a 4-5-1 setup where Schlupp and Ayew kind of tuck in a little bit, play a little bit. Not as far up the pitch, so they're more wide midfielders and not wingers.
Yeah,
with that setup, I could see us doing that and just leaving Eduoard alone up top to then be ready and work for the counter.
Yeah, but then do you think that is the right approach? Look, I don't think you should open up against Arsenal. And it's interesting that he says Schlupp and Ayew potentially coming inside because they're like their inverted fullback. So you might see Partey. It was Partey against Nottingham Forest. He played as right back, but he went
as a right back. Yeah.
And he went into centre mid. I'm just thinking now. Imagine if we had like Wilf. I know that's gone now, but if we had an actual winger, because I think Schlupp against Partey, it'll be interesting. But there are spaces open out wide. And the problem is we don't really have a winger apart from, Jordan Ayew had a decent game, but Schlupp also, we know his limitations as well.
Lacks the creativity of a true winger,
So in terms of how Forest approached the game in their formation, they went to a back three.
They went back,
and they try to hit them on the counter attack. So I feel like there is that debate. I mean, we saw it last year, even in the final 10 games when we faced Tottenham. They were struggling, and we approached that game a bit negatively as well. I think that was the only main negative last season when Roy was in charge. But I think it'll probably be the right way. Try to hit them on a counter attack and try to hit them out wide. But you mentioned Eduoard, and Eduoard was flipping brilliant. He was like he was, apart from his goal, and I said this as well, his goal topped his overall performance, which I was proud of.
And
The
he had
fact
one
that he
taken
had a
away. He
link
could have
up
had a
play.
brace. He had one taken
Yeah,
away too.
exactly. He could have scored 2 goals if if he timed his running a bit better. But his link up play, from minute one was fantastic. He was linking up with Eze and other players as well, which was great. And in this game, I'm expecting that as well. You mentioned that, Schlupp and Ayew may be coming inside. It might just have to be Eduoard there. But his first touch needs to be on point. His first touch needs to be on point against Arsenal. But then again, do you think leaving Eduoard up there by himself against 2 defenders, do you think that is the right approach as well? Because it's hard. You're going to have sacrifice. You're going to have pros and cons with every type of approach. But I think someone needs to be close to him. I think Ebbs ideally needs to sit close to Eduoard so we actually don't hoof the ball up, 90 minutes and Arsenal keep getting it back, because that will be a long day. We have to actually have a counter-attack approach, and Eduoard can do a role, but someone needs to be off him so he can bounce, the ball off to do quick 1-2s.
I think part of that too is I think Eduard's really going to have to be more involved defensively because the more involved defensively he's going to be, that means the closer he's going to be to his teammates. So when we get those turnovers and the ball starts to go the other way, he then has an easier time linking up with guys. You know what I mean? I think the most important thing for Eduard is Eduard's not really a target man. He's not a true back to the goal, hold the ball up for other guys to come. That's really not his game. That's not his role. I think for him, the emphasis has to be quick link up, playing the ball quick, play, turn, get in behind. That's the way he can play. He can do
runs
that.
Against Sheffield United in behind was the most important thing.
I think asking him to be the guy that takes the ball, holds a guy off on his back for 2-3 seconds, allowing other guys to get. I think that's going to be harder for him. That's less of who he is. However, he's good with the ball at his feet, so there he can play intricate passes off of those immediate entries into himself, turn in behind, and then really start to play more on the counter. And like you said, it's going to be important that he has guys close enough to him that he can do that. So I think the more involved he is defensively, the closer he'll be to teammates, the more that once we get those counter opportunities, he can ping and play with his teammates.
Well, my light basically disagreed with you. Disagreed with you there. I don't know what happened to my light. There, you just wowed my whole light. Like you just turn off the lights in there. Literally. I don't know what happened there. What happened? But anyways, as I was saying, that's why I was pointing out the Eze and Eduoard combination. It's just the timing of that turning off as well. I don't know. Hilarious. It's the fact that you ended that minute. My light just said, that's it. Turn off the lights. That's it. He spoke facts. But the thing is, with that, you also have to be careful that you don't sit too deep. Like you want him to be involved defensively, but if you have Eduoard just in your own half working his arse off, trying to run at defenders, etc., tire him out, and then there's going to be no count. You have to find a balance. I think Eduoard, ideally, there should be space open out wide with the fullbacks. If the fullbacks are not in their usual spot, if they're through the middle, then he should drift out wide. But look, we'll see what happens with Eduoard. Hopefully, he has another positive performance. But I'm not going to talk about the league table. We often do here, but it's the second game. We're fifth. We're right now it's all is fine.
It's not that time.
Exactly. We'll talk about score prediction, talk about maybe our overall season predictions as well. But quickly about Arsenal. Title contenders last year, Champions League this year. They made some very good signings. Declan Rice, solid. I really rate that transfer. I think he fits into that Arsenal team because of the England links with the likes of Saka. But one player that I've said when you first joined that is out for this game, potentially out for the season, is Timber. Jordan Timber. I think that would have been such an underrated move because Declan Rice, of course, big price tag. Everyone talks about him, but by the casual Premier League fan, Timber may have gone under the radar. But I think he's a fantastic player. He's potentially out for the season. So in terms of their hopes for the rest of the season, how much of an impact do you think that will have?
A huge impact. Well, first and foremost, you're losing a really talented player that they got for a good, they got him for a solid amount. I mean, if you think about it, they paid what $100+ million for Declan Rice. They got Timber
in today's
for
market.
They got Timber for like 40.
Yeah,
Like
it's nothing.
that's a quality buy. Hey, that's a really solid player you're getting in a Netherlands international too. So I think the biggest and immediate impact is the fact that he's not available for them. Other impacts you're talking about is the fact that number one, either you're going to have to depend on guys that you didn't plan to before prior to this year, or they're going to have to put out more money to bring in more guys or another guy to take over. So there's there's a lot that comes with that piece, having to replace a guy that was going to be such a key cog in what you're looking to do.
I'll be honest, I don't want this. I'm not discrediting them for their win against Forest. I think a win is a win, but
Yeah.
even Arsenal fans were saying it. They weren't that great, especially in second half. Like Forest did hit them on the counter attack a few times, and that was interesting to see. But of course, we're playing at home. They'll be up for it in this game as well. The main battle is Martinelli against Ward for me. I think that's going to be interesting, and that's when Jordan Ayew defensive powers have to come into play because I thought we had a solid game. I thought we had a solid game against Sheffield United with the assist, very good assist, and he's underrated at times by Palace fans because he always puts in a solid effort. It's just his end product which can let him down. But Martinelli versus Ward, that's the one I'm looking at. I thought Ward had a decent game against Sheffield United, but Martinelli, he had an assist, and I know they're going to try and attack down that side naturally because that is our weakness.
Yeah, and you would think that it makes sense for them to do that. I think for us, hopefully, you would just hope that Joe Ward keeps together and uses his knowledge of the game and his physicality against a guy like Martinelli to try to be solid competition against him. And I mean, honestly, I would be remorse not to mention the fact that Tyreek Mitchell's going to have his hands full with Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
And if I do recall in the past, he has struggled with Bukayo Saka too.
Well, lots of people do. He's one of the best wingers.
So
there's that debate about is he the best winger in the Premier League? And
so it's going to be an extremely hard contested match for both of our fullbacks, and I'm wondering if another alteration that we make is having somebody like Lerma playing more of a dual 6 role with Doucouré to where they can help out a little bit more in the defense rather than Lerma being able to get forward as much as we might have saw. But
it's like who's going to get forward then?
I mean,
you have to be careful. I think for me, Joe Wood in this game, I'm not expecting Joe Wood to bomb down. Even if he does, he's not going to contribute that massively. I think it's going to be a huge toll on Jordan Ayew to create by himself. Yeah. I think it's going to have to be like a Jordan Ayew as a link up rather than Joe Ward overlapping because you don't want to leave that space behind for the likes of Martinelli or even Mitchell. I think Mitchell's interesting as well because you're going to have Saka and down that side. So it's a headache, but we'll see how Palace approach it. But fullbacks have to be cautious about what they do in attack versus defense. Because as I said, ideally, I want a point. You have to be realistic. It's against Arsenal. So yeah, look, I think we've got a quality in our team to get something out of the game, but of course, we're not favourites, and I'm not expecting to get anything out of the game. I'm just hoping. And if we do, I think that will raise the moods, which have been quite down, despite us winning against Sheffield United, due to all the negative transfer talk, literally. But in terms of Palace, just finally, before we wrap up, I think the main thing is we have to keep Eze fit, and Eze has to be on in this game, because despite him not getting assists, he was the main creative outlet. He was picking up the ball in midfield, going past one or two players. And I'm expecting something similar against Arsenal. If not, then I really don't know who will be able to carry that burden. I think we're lacking creativity in the squad as it is.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be that same guy that he's been throughout the preseason. He's got to be that guy that we saw against Sheffield. I mean, he created 7 chances in that match, and that's the type of things we're going to need. Also, his ability to draw fouls is going to be really important for us too. I think anytime we can find ourselves with dead ball opportunities in a match like the Arsenal one is going to give us a good chance of coming away with some type of goals / points in this match. So between him and Jordan Ayew, drawing fouls in dangerous areas is really going to be important, or creating corner kick opportunities. All those things are going to be really important for us in our chances for scoring goals.
Yeah, talking about goals, you know what time it is. Score predictions.
Okay.
First one of the season, of course, we didn't do a preview for Sheffield United.
Although I did predict 1-0.
You
I
did,
predicted 1-0 on
allegedly.
Twitter.
I didn't. Where do you
I'm gonna
predict
have to go
this?
find it.
I
On
didn't
Twitter.
see
I'm
it.
gonna go find it. It was
Okay, on Twitter. Yeah, you predicted allegedly 1-0. I didn't hear about this.
I think
So
it was
go
match
on.
day. Match
Yeah,
day. Match day.
all right,
Palace.
cool. You can start off. As you got it right last time, I don't want to give you my prediction yet to muffle your head. What are you saying now?
I'm going
Palace, can we get a result against Arsenal at home? Monday Night Football, Selhurst under the lights. Everything is going against us now. And it was before Sheffield United as well. We managed to get a result then. Can we do it against title contenders, Arsenal?
1-1.
1-1.
1-1.
I'll take that. Who you got scoring? Surely. Eduoard again? Eddie again?
I have Eze scoring on a penalty.
Oh, he's winning that penalty. Jordan Ayew winning the penalty. I'll take that. I'll take that.
I mean, hey, I'll take it. Whoever wins it,
Roy
it could be
Hodgson winning
Eduoard.
the penalty. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Talking about Roy, I mean, he's up for it. I'll tell you that. I don't know about individual players, but Roy is still up for this.
Yeah, absolutely. He's showing that youthful energy, man. He's showing that youthful energy. That's what we want.
Exactly. 1-0 with Eze scoring. All right. I'm going to go for... I was going to say 1-0. Can I say 1-0 after you said it? Can I say it? There's no rules, to be fair.
I'm not mad at that.
All right. Let me say 2-1 Palace. Let me say 2-1 Palace.
2-1 Palace at the
Enough
Emirates.
is enough. We are all frustrated. We need something. Everyone at Sellers Park is going to be up for it.
We start the season
first home game of the season. Arsenal, I don't know. Like, no one is expecting. Before we had Elise, Eze, Zar combinations and all of that. Now they're looking at us saying, "Oh, Schlupp and Ayew." Like, surely there must be a surprise somewhere along the way. Let it be this game. 2-1 Palace. Eddie and Eze on the score sheet. I'll take that. But I'll be honest.
If we start,
I'll take that 100%. But 0-0 with no shots on target, clean sheet.
Cool with that too.
Give me that right now. I'll be happy with the point as well. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. How do you see this game going? The second game of the season, first home game as well. As always, if you have enjoyed the content, make sure to smash the like button and also subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. There's a lot of content happening. Good and bad news. We're covering it all at Back of the Nest. But that's it from me, Auntie, and until next time, up the Palace.